And in our agriculture spot today, images have emerged of a horror mouse plague in Warren in New South Wales. Then another one at Coonabarabran where a mouse is seen sitting on a cat's head. Look, the reality for the cat, they'd be the only ones that'd be happy about this plague. The women absolutely, just hate the situation in country areas where mice are in the home and traps. You just can't set enough traps. You just can't get them out. And then the further to that, you look at the damage being done to cropping areas. With that as a backdrop, the New South Wales Farmers Federation, along with the CWA in New South Wales, meeting today at the New South Wales Parliament House. And speakers include Matthew Madden, who is the Grains Committee Chair and a Moree farmer being drastically affected by mice in that part of the world. Danica Lees, who is the CEO of the Country Women's Association of New South Wales, and a young farmer, Martin Murray, from the northern New South Wales will speak. They're speaking about what is effectively a Grains Research and Development Corporation project that has also involved the CSIRO. Now, they are launching a new research-based study that indicates that we'll need to increase zinc phosphide to new mouse bait levels so that grain growers who are battling the above-average mouse numbers in eastern Australia can get control of them. ZNP-coated wheat bait is the only registered in-crop rodenticide for the management of mice damage in broad-scale agriculture in Australia. It's the new Australian Pesticides and Veterinary Authority emergency use permit increases the concentration of zinc phosphide active per wheat grain from 25 milligrams a kilogram to 50 milligrams per kilogram. That's a doubling of the bait, if you like, the potency of the bait, so that it, in effect, will be able to knock out all or 100% of the rodents that are being baited. What they're saying is that for the last 20 years or so, we've been using these baits, which now are only getting 50% efficacy. And the lethal dose needed is meaning that we've got to double the bait size. Now, CSIRO researcher Stephen Henry, who's led this study, said the lab findings showed the bait prepared at this new mixing rate was lethal to all mice in the vicinity, while the previous mixing rate was 50%, which I guess if it's doubling it, then that would be the case. Now, these measurements that are given in the CSIRO need to be checked with your local authorities in each state, whether it's Victoria, New South Wales or South Australia. But it's important to recognise the FSC research produced consistent, scientifically rigorous results and followed the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development's guidelines, as was approved with the CSIRO Animal Ethics Committee. Ultimately, if you've got that many mice that the cats can't even keep up with it, then you've got way too many. And these are rodents. They spread disease. At the same time, they're getting a better habitat to grow into. And the no-till farming situation, I mean, we have created a new type of farming which has led to the ability for predators to also grow. And I think we've got to now reconsider how we do our farming across the board. Now, obviously, chemical sprays and no-till or minimal till, these have been the way in which our farmers have gone, and these have become broadacre staples. And at the same time, we've been able to increase yields and drought-tolerant varieties. But now there's always a give and a take in farming, isn't there? And this looks like the negative side. An increased population of mice. It's not the first time. I mean, there were plagues back in 1993, also in the early 2000s, another really big one. And I know Victoria, I can recall one more recently through Victoria and some parts of South Australia. So there is a real issue here. Doubling the potency of the baits is one way of dealing with it, but maybe a longer-term strategy will be needed in the way in which we farm the soil.